Welcome to today's live video. I am making red velvet cake today, and I would like to take you through the process of making this red velvet cake. Actually, I want to film for my content, okay, the content that I will be posting, but then I decided to come on live and at the same time film this content. So if you're wondering why am I looking in two places, I am actually filming with my camera right in front of me, and I also have my phone set up right in front of me for the live session today. So if you're new to the channel, do not forget, this is a place where you get so much value, you gain value, you gain insight, you learn and unlearn, you learn how to make new things you have not tried before. I am going to take you through the steps whereby you make those things from the comfort of your home without having to spend too much and without having to break a bank. So if you're interested in things like this, join me. I will take you through the step today. So for today, like I said, we'll be making red velvet cake, and this cake requires not so much stress, okay, to make. We don't have to cream, we're not creaming anything. This is oil-based red velvet cake, and you don't have to cream, you don't need a mixer for this recipe, okay? Remember, you also don't need an oven, because I am always here to teach you how to bake with your pot and your gas. If this is something you would love to learn today, stay tuned as I take you through the steps, okay? Don't forget to share this video so that your friends and family get to join and learn a thing or two today. I just hope I remember to alternate between my camera and my phone. So I just want to increase the brightness of this phone so that's know what I am doing. So without wasting so much time, I am going to go right into the process of making this red velvet cake. And by the way, I already prepped my ingredients. I sieved my flour. I already measured out everything, but I will be measuring it out again the second time just so that you get to learn. Yeah. So for today's, I already have what I will be mixing with. I am not making a very large cake, okay? I am making something small for a single serving or two. If a cake lover and you take much cake, this cake is just for a single serving. But if you know you can share, okay, now this can serve for two, right? So I'll be taking you through the process and the steps of how to make this. I have my bowl here. One thing I want to do first is to cream my pan, the pan that I'll be baking with, so that it is very much easy for me to do this, okay? So I'm just going to line my pan with a parchment paper and get the whole thing ready. Okay, so this is the pan that I'll be using to make this cake. This is a very small pan. This pan should be, I think, 5 inches pan. Yes, I can't really remember the size, but it is not so small like 4 inches. This should be 5 inches. I'm going to turn off my camera so that's okay. So this pan should be 5 inches in size, okay, and I'm going to be using this to bake today's cake. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to line this pan with a parchment paper so that by the time I'm done, combining my cake, mixing my cake batter and everything, it will be so easy for me to transfer it into the pan without having to start lining. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to line this pan with a parchment paper. Hi, thank you for watching. Please do tell me where you're watching from. And today, like I said, we'll be making red velvet cake. You don't need a mixer, you don't need an oven to make this recipe, okay? So this is like a rough estimate of what I'm going to cut out. I'm going to use my hand to cut this out. The essence of lining my pan is because I am making an oil-based cake, and you want this cake to come out freely by the time you're done baking. Nothing breaks the heart more than when you finish baking and your cake is stuck in the pan. You really do not want that. So I'm just going to do like something. I really do not have my scissors here, so I will keep doing everything with my hands until we get there. So the first thing I want to do is to line the bottom of the pan. So what I'm trying to do is to cut like a circle. This will go to the base of this pan. Yeah, exactly just the shape that I want. So you can see this is going to be this. So for this, I'm not going to throw them away. I'm going to use them to line the sides of my pan. Just cut them into So it is very good you learn how to, manage your resources or whatever you're using. So this will serve as the lining for the side. Okay, let's close this. Okay. So I'll keep the remaining. And now I'm going to cream this pan. I am creaming it so that this parchment paper sticks to the body of the pan. So I don't really have to like cream it so much because I'm also going to line with the parchment paper. So I'll just cream it a little bit. So I'll add a little bit of margarine and I'm going to cream it with my hand. So if you don't want to mess up your hand, you can use a brush, whatever it is that you have to cream your pan. So I'm done creaming my pan. I'm I'm going to quickly line it. So this will go to the base. Okay. So I'm using this to line the side of the pan. Hi, thank you for watching. So I'm trying to line my pan because I'm making red velvet cake. I want this cake to come out very clean when I do that, so I have to line the pan. I think I still need a little bit more parchment paper just for the side. So just going to I'm just going to cut out something small, not so much. Yeah, so this will serve. So my pan has been perfectly lined. You can see how this looks, okay? So is Hi, thank you for joining. Today I am making oil-based red velvet cake, and this is a very easy cake for you to make at home. You can make it from the comfort of your house, wherever you are. Just know that this cake is just one easy cake that you can make. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my camera. You guys pardon me, I'm creating 2 videos at a time, okay? So I'm a pan line. So for this cake, we'll be using vegetable oil. And one thing you want to do is to get a very good vegetable oil for your cake. Okay, There are so many good oils out there, because the taste of your oil is also going to tell how well or how bad your cake comes out. If the taste is bad, the taste of your cake will definitely come out bad. If you use a very good oil, the taste of your cake will also come out great. So you want a good oil, okay? Now, depending on where you are, the country you stay in, you can get different kinds of vegetable oil. Okay, so I'm not like spilling any specific oil for you to get, because there are lots of good brands and you can use any one that you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to measure a quarter cup of vegetable oil. That is what we'll be using for today's recipe. I'll be measuring out a quarter cup of vegetable oil. This has already been pre-measured, but because I want to show you the exact thing that I am doing, this is a live demonstration, so I am going to measure it out for you to see. I'll be using a quarter cup of vegetable oil for today's recipe. This is a quarter cup of vegetable oil. I'll be adding it into my bowl, and then I'll go in with the rest of the ingredients. Hi, is that Samuel? Hello, thanks for watching. So this is a quarter cup of vegetable oil. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for joining. I am going to now add in my eggs and every other wet ingredient. I love to go in with the wet ingredients, combine everything together, then I proceed to go in with my dry ingredient. The reason I go with my dry ingredient last is because I want it to maintain its reddish color. You're making red velvet, and there's nothing more appealing than when your red velvet come out perfect, like, it comes out very well as the reddish color you're expecting. So if you go in with your dry ingredient and then you go in with a wet ingredient last, it's going to alter the color of the red velvet. The color is going to depreciate. The color is going to step down. I am saying this because I have tried it before and I learned the hard way. I had to recheck my recipe, and I realized that going in with an extra wet ingredient after my dry ingredient will alter the color of my red. It will make my red to become lighter than it previously was. So after going in with this oil, the next thing I'm going to do is to crack in my eggs into my bowl. So I'll be using 2 eggs for this recipe. Now these eggs are not so large, okay? These are like medium size, or I think these are small sizes in this place. These are small sizes of eggs, and because I want this cake to be very fluffy and delicious, I'll be using 2 eggs for this recipe. So I'm going to crack in 2 eggs into my bowl. Why I like to crack this in separately is so that I don't go in with a bad egg. The moment you go in with a bad egg, you've wasted your ingredients and you will not like it. You're not going to be happy about it. So I'm going to go in with 2 eggs. Okay. So this is good and I am safe. So I will turn this into my oil. I'll crack in the second one separately. Yes, that way you are careful not to go in with a bad egg. So while cracking, you also have to be gentle about it so that the shells do not, go into the bowl. So I just added my second egg, and what I am going to do is to go with my sugar. This is a quarter cup of sugar, and that is what I will be using for this recipe. You want to get your pen and your paper and you take down each of this recipe that I am stating out. Do not worry, I'm also going to add it in the description box just after this live, so that you get to see the exact measurement of everything that I am using. So I'm going to beat this together. this method makes it very easy for people who don't have a mixer, people who, you're not into baking, but oh, the spoon. So you can always add more milk if that is what you want, okay? So I'll go in with a quarter cup of water. So I'm trying to make a buttermilk that I'll be using to bake this red velvet cake. So this is a quarter cup of water and powdered milk. Now I'm going to add in my vinegar. I'll be using 1 teaspoon of vinegar. I'll add it into this milk so that it forms buttermilk before I go ahead to transfer it into my bowl. So I'll measure out 1 teaspoon of vinegar. So I'm going to stir this together. Set it aside for about a minute. Now it's time to start, combining our dry ingredients together. By the time we're done combining our dry ingredients, this cake is halfway ready. Okay, this process is what we usually call a 7-minute cake recipe, because you don't have to do so much work. All you just need to do is set your dry ingredients aside, set your wet ingredients aside. By the time you're done combining everything together, you add the dry into the wet and your batter is ready. That easy. Yes, it is that easy to make. So what I'm going to do is, okay, you can see how this is. You can see how it has curdled. So this is the buttermilk, and I'm going to add it back into this place. So I am filming in 2 places. That is why it seems like it's a little bit out of focus. So I'm going to add it in. So when I have added the buttermilk inside, I'm going to combine it together and then prep the dry ingredients that I will be adding into the bowl. I'm going to use flour, cocoa powder, and red velvet powder. Now the key to making the perfect red velvet cake is the kind of red velvet powder that you are using for your red velvet cake. If you get a red velvet powder that is not of good quality, your cake is going to come out brown. How do I mean? the edges of your cake are going to look like it is burnt, but it is not. It is just the brand of red velvet powder that you got that is causing it. I'm quickly going to show you the kind of red velvet powder that I usually recommend for people to get if you want to achieve the perfect red velvet cake. I don't know if this brand is sold, everywhere, but if you can get the brand, it is very nice. Now, this brand of red velvet powder will give you the perfect shade of red in your red velvet cake. It is called, hi, good evening, ICS Comedy. Thank you for joining. This brand of red velvet, do well to like. Please, you guys, help me to like this live and leave a comment. You can tell me where you're watching me from, and I will be so glad to connect with you in the comments just after this video. So this brand of red velvet powder is the brand I usually recommend. It is called Excellent Blend Red Velvet. This is not a paid promotion, guys, but the fact that it gives me what I want, it gives me the perfect shade of red in my red velvet cake, that is why I recommend it. So if you can get this Excellent Blend Red Velvet powder, your cake is going to come out very well. The shade of red you're going to get will be perfect. It will be excellent. See, red velvet cake is the kind of red velvet powder that you use. I will say it over and over again. I don't use gel, okay? And I don't know if there are people that use gel for their red velvet cake, red gel food, but I don't use gel. Just a little bit of this powder. You're going to see and watch the amount I will be adding to my batter, and you will see the transformation that it is going to give. You're going to see everything right on spot, okay? That is one of the essence I am doing this live, so that you see and you appreciate everything. You don't have to question so many things, so that when you see it online, it's not real. Maybe she added a full, if I can use this thing to make red velvet cake, depending on the quantity. I can use it to make red velvet cake 50 times. Yes, I beat my chest to say it. This small container that you see here, I can use it to make red velvet cake 50 times, because it gives the excellent blend of red, okay? So what you want to do is to get a perfect red food powder. With that, you are good to go. So I'm going to set this aside. I've added my buttermilk into this. I'm just going to combine it together. Like I said, I like to go in with my dry ingredients last, because once I am done adding the dry, I am going to transfer it into my baking pan and bake. So if you're just joining, do not worry. I'll be listing the exact measurement that I use, and I can quickly do a recap. Inside this bowl, I have a quarter cup of buttermilk. How did I get that? I just added 2 tablespoons of powdered milk into a bowl. I went in with quarter cup of water, and I went in with 1 teaspoon of vinegar. Now I also have my vegetable oil. I have a quarter cup of vegetable oil inside this bowl, okay? And I have 2 eggs inside this bowl. Now the eggs are not large eggs, they are small sized eggs, so I have 2 eggs inside this bowl. I'm going to set this aside and combine the dry ingredients right away. So this is my flour. I already pre-measured this flour so that it will be easy for me to handle, okay? This is a cup of flour. You can use any depending on where you are. If you're using a self-rising flour, you don't need to add baking powder or baking soda into your batter, okay? But if you're not using a self-rising flour, you're just using a normal flour, you need to add a baking powder or baking soda into your batter. So this is a cup of flour. What I am going to do right away is to add every other ingredient that I need to add into this flour. So inside this flour, I'm going to go in with my sugar. This is a quarter cup of sugar. I'm going to measure it out again for you to see. I am not going to, I think I added a little bit extra, so I'll just measure a quarter cup of sugar for you to see. So you want this to be leveled, okay? So I'll go in with a quarter cup of sugar into my flour. So I already pre-measured this baking powder. Most people love to use both baking powder and baking soda for their red velvet cake, but I just love to use baking powder alone because I am using a very good baking powder, so I don't often use baking soda for my recipes. I'm going to measure out 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I will add it into my flour and sugar, you know, because I'm combining all the dry ingredients together. So if you want to use a baking soda, you can add half teaspoon. These spoons have each measurement written at the back of this place. So you can add half teaspoon of baking powder and half teaspoon of baking soda. But because I am not using baking soda, I'll be using 1 teaspoon of baking powder for this recipe. Another thing I'm going to add is my salt. Because I am not using salted butter for this recipe, I'll be using salt for it to elevate the taste of the cake. So I'll add 1/8 teaspoon of salt, okay, into my flour. The next thing I want to go in to add is my cocoa powder. Now, if you want to get that very, attractive red color, this cocoa powder is going to help make the red very, not so dark, but it's going to give it that perfect shade of red. That is why you add cocoa powder to your red velvet cake. The cocoa powder is going to help elevate the color of your red velvet cake. You're going to see the difference that it will make by the time I am done with this, okay? Because this is a small amount of cake, I am not using very large amount of cocoa powder. At this point, you can double this recipe to make large amounts if you're making for quite a number of people. So I am using a 1/4 teaspoon of cocoa powder. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon of cocoa powder. If you like yours darker, go ahead and add more cocoa powder. But be careful. If you're not careful about the amount of cocoa powder that you add to your red velvet, it will end up becoming, it will no longer be red. The color is going to be very dark, as if you're making chocolate cake. So I'm going to combine this together. The next thing I'm going to do is to add in my red velvet powder. And I'll also be using a 1/4 teaspoon of, the red velvet powder. You want to level this out. So I leveled this out and I'm going to add it. So I'm going to combine this together so that when I'm adding it into my batter, So this pack is helping me to combine this thing properly, okay? If you have a whisk, you can use a whisk to do this too. So we are combining this thing first so that the batter does not like have, patches, not well blended, colored. I am trying to avoid that, okay? So I'm going to go in with 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavor into my. So you can actually use any flavor of your choice for red velvet cake. Some people use butterscotch, buttermilk, any flavor that you want to use for your red velvet. I often use milk emulsion for my red velvet cake, and it gives it a very delicious, result. The result is so amazing. So I've added my vanilla flavor into my mixture, and now I'll start adding in the dry. But before then, I'm going to boil some water that I will be using, because I want to end with my dry ingredients. You always want to end with your dry ingredients when making a red velvet cake. So you're going to get the water, the hot water ready, everything ready. This is my dry and this is my wet ingredients. And everything is ready. I just have to combine, and then voila, we're baking right ahead. There are actually people who love to make their cake very creamy, very delicious, and they'll add extra hot milk into their recipe. They just love to make theirs so delicious, especially when it is for personal consumption. So in times like this, you want to do you, but I'll be going in with hot water for mine, okay? So I will start adding this bit by bit into my wet ingredients. You guys, I don't know if you can see, it is already turning red. So it's already turning red. I'll keep going in with so I'll be mixing this bit by bit. See, this is what I'm talking about. When you use a very good red velvet powder, you're going to get an amazing result. want to combine this gently. You don't want to, over mix it. Okay. So I'm going to leave some dry ingredients that I'll be adding when I'm done adding my hot water. So this is how my butter is. So I'm going to add. It's so delicious. So I'll go in with a quarter cup of hot water. You can see the color is not as dark as so at this point I'll go with my remaining dry ingredients. And combine everything together. Now our cake batter is ready. I just want to show you how it looks like. You guys see this? Can you see this? This is the consistency you're looking for. Okay, you can see how easy this was to put together. So by the time you're done baking, you can see this retained the the red color that I still wanted it to retain, because I had some leftover dry ingredient that I added last by the time I was done. Okay, you can see how this batter is. This is it. So this is our red velvet cake batter. Now, while I am trying to transfer this into my pan, I will start preparing my pot where I will be baking this cake. Okay. So like I've always taught us, if you want to bake with your pot, you need salt and you need something to elevate your, something to elevate your cake pan with. So I already have my salt. This is my salt. I'll be adding it into my pot. So I'm just trying to preheat this pot. So I'll be adding something to elevate, my cake pan with. So, like I said, the first thing you want to do is to prepare your pan. This pan has already been prepped. So, like this, I am done mixing. I'll just quickly transfer this and move it into my, pot and start baking. If you watch, this cake was, mixed in less than, I think, 20 minutes. And that is because I am doing a live demonstration and I am talking. If I was not doing a live, This batter is a 7 minutes cake batter. It is a 7 minutes cake batter. It does not take time to, to be put together. Okay. So I'm going to transfer this. Just being careful. Remember to line your pan with a parchment paper. You want your cake to come out very clean when you're done baking. This is an oil-based red velvet cake. There is also butter-based. There's oil-based. So people prefer the oil-based red velvet cake because it comes out. The texture is very appealing, and it comes out not too stiff. It comes out a little bit as though it wants to be dense, but it is not dense. You can use it for your cake parfait. Oil-based cake are very great for parfaits. So a lot of people tend to use the oil-based because most of them are into the business of making cake parfait. So I have successfully transferred this. Oh my god, you guys, this. So I'm going to gently tap this. I'm trying to release air bubbles. Okay, this is. So I'm going to quickly show you what I will be baking with. Okay. So this is my pot, and this is what I will be baking with. So I'm already preheating this. So I'm just going to transfer this. I used something to elevate it, okay? So I'll cover it up. I'm going to seal the spot at which heat is going to escape from. I'm going to seal it up with a foil. I just want to get like a little pot. Okay. So I'll seal it up. I just want to quickly raise my camera so that I get this part. Okay. And our cake is baking. Oh my god, I did not remember to save my last clip. Okay, actually did save. So guys, I'm actually currently baking this cake right now with the pot, and the time is, this should be 10:08. By 10:40, 10:50, this cake should be ready. I am looking at it now because I am using a transparent, a transparent pot to bake. So I think we should talk about YouTube right now while we wait for our cake to bake. Here is so hot, very hot. So one of the ways I try to, stay on track when it comes to content creation is creating content with things around me. Okay, I try to create content using things around me, using food I usually eat. Okay, I don't often, do so much when it comes to creating food content, because food content requires resources, and if you do not have that kind of resource, doesn't mean you will not be able to create content. No, if you don't have the right, amount of resources, that is not an avenue for you not to be able to create your content. You should still be able to do something using things around you. Okay, so one of the ways I ensure that I always show up, I am constantly showing up on this space, is by using things within my reach, within my capacity to create content. There was a time I, went to the market and I purchased fresh veggies. And considering the fact that I moved to a place and I was not able to move with most of my, my materials or my equipment, I had to figure out a way to preserve this fresh veggies that I got. So what did I resort to do? What I started doing was to batch create content. Yes, I don't know if you have heard anything about batch creating content. Batch creating content is you using one, one content shoot time to create over 3, 4, 5 content, depending on your capacity, depending on what you want. So I started batch creating content with those fresh veggies. Now that helped me to create over 5 to 6 content, which I was able to post, you know during the period I was no longer able to purchase more fresh veggies, because I had already made content with those veggies and things I got. I started posting the content I had made with it. Okay, so if you are in a space where it is difficult for you to show up as a creator, you should consider batch creating your content. Okay, if you are in um, an environment where you work and you do not have so much time and opportunity to create content every day. I work as a doctor. During the day I am working. I came back from work and I started this live video, and I am doing the live video because I am also creating my content for the next day. I create my content ahead of the day, or I batch create my content and post it when I will no longer be available to create content. Sometimes, depending on the kind of content that I create, I can create content that day and edit it, post it that same day. You should know your capability. You should know what you're capable of doing. If you cannot be able to show up, create the content, edit it, and post that day, you want to take your time and do it a day before that day. Now, this helps you to always show up. It helps you to make sure that you're showing up every day. You just have to plan yourself, plan your content, plan ahead of time, so that you're able to show up even when you least expect to show up. I have been showing up for the past couple of days. I actually started creating my content again in September, and I made a decision that I was going to show up every single day. I show up every single day, create content every day, post every day. It is that serious. There are times that you may not have anything to post. Let me tell you something. Go back and post your old video. Yes, I said it. It is your video. You made it. It is your sweat. Who knows? Your previous video may not, have reached the right audience. But the second time you post that video, you can see that video, doing wonders, going into explore, reaching to people that you didn't even believe that this video will go that far. Okay, so if you lack idea of what to post, any day you lack idea of what to post, any day you're so tired, there are days that you feel so exhausted. Okay, there are days that you feel so tired to create content. There are days that you feel so tired to show up. Any day you feel tired to create content or show up, my dear, go back, pick your old video and post it. It is your video. It is your resource. You used your resource to make that video. So go back, pick that video and post it, and watch how far that video will go. You will not even expect that video to go viral. Now, I'll also tell you what some big content creators do that we see it as okay, they are doing throwback. They look out for the video that did so well, one of their videos that did so well. They pick that video and they repost that video. Yes, they repost that video. I have seen so many content creators do that, and those are big content creators. So yes, and people are still commenting, people are engaging. People that previously watched that video, they are watching it again because they took the chance. And then you, as a small creator, you are saying you cannot post your old video. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. As a small creator, don't do past yourself. Okay, if you don't have a new video to post, go back, look for your old video, look for the video that did well, you can repost it. The video that you felt like you put in so much resource into, you put in so much effort to create, you did so well on that video, but the video did not reach people as you expected it to reach, go back, pick that video and repost it. It is your video. Nobody is going to take it down from your page. People will only say, why are you posting old videos or something? But it is your content. And I tell you, those comments will even make more people to view the content that you posted. So don't be discouraged that how do I show up every day? I have no idea of what to post. I have nothing to create. I have no idea of what to create. Now, should I tell you something, that you staying in front of your camera and saying, today I was supposed to show up, but I actually lacked inspiration of what to create. I had no idea of what to create. So I decided to turn on my camera, come here to rant, ask for ideas. Community members, what do you think I should post next? Do you know that is a content? Yes, it is a content. You will not believe it, but it is a content. So don't feel like you must have to post new videos every day for your channel or your platform to do well. There are days that you just need to encourage yourself by looking at your previous content, and when you admire them, you look at the one that did so well, you repost it. It may or may not go viral. Yes, it is not easy to go viral as a startup creator. One of the challenge startup creators face is creating a community, like a community of people that are always supportive of the kind of content that you share. So that is one of the challenge new creators face. I am not even an exemption. Yes, I also have that challenge. There are times I feel like, oh my god, are people going to engage? Are they going to like my content? Are they going to like my video? Okay, there are days you feel so discouraged to create your content. But one thing you should know, sorry, I am just trying to regulate this fire so that my cake bakes well and not burn. I think I've been using a very high heat. Okay, this should be better. Yeah, so in the next 30 minutes time, we should be checking on our cake. So also when you're baking, try to use a very low heat. I think I'll be baking on a very high heat. So I hope this does not go bad, right? Yes. I just had to turn down the heat right now so that it bakes properly. Okay? So this is one challenge of baking with a pot. You have to be close by. You don't want your cake to burn. At this point, I'm kind of scared because I didn't realize that my gas, I was baking with a very high heat. Okay, I have tried to reduce the heat. So I was trying to, share tips on how you can keep showing up as a creator. I'm even going to tell you something. This night, right? Depending on where you're watching me from, it is currently late in my country. So I'm a Nigerian creator. So this night, I actually did not want to show up. Yes, I didn't want to show up. I wish I can quickly share the message I sent to my friend, and I was like, "Do you think I should show up?" Right? And my friend said, "Yes, show up, show up." I had to quickly, sell out my ingredients, and I started, streaming. This is to tell you that if you realize that you haven't gotten to this stage, see, creators that are big keep showing up. They show up every day. They show up. They do not care. They show up every single day, every minute, every hour. They've even taken this content creation as like a full-time job. And you as a startup, it is challenging for you to show up. One of the limiting factors that I realized that had always held me down is the fact of, what do I do? Where do I start from? What do I say? I am not even a fluent, speaker, someone that can speak for a very long time. No, 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 no. I'm not that kind of person. But since I started streaming live, I realized that I can actually talk. Can you imagine? I can talk. So if you're there sitting and you're watching me, you think, she talks better, she talks so well, she's very good with this live thing. My darling, I am learning. I am learning. I am not perfect with the life, okay? I am still learning. This cake is. So I told you guys it will be ready in the next 40 minutes. I think it will, okay? So it is rising right now. I think maybe I'll try to like show you guys how the level it is now, okay? So that you don't think I am baking with an oven while you get. So this is, can you see? Can you see the level? You're actually seeing it through the. So this is one beauty of me baking with my non-stick pot. I get to see and weigh how my cake is progressing. Okay. I have to reduce this heat a bit more. Okay. So at this point, I will check it soon. So I'm just waiting for it to be at least up to 30 minutes before I open it and check. So I'm just going to bring up a toothpick that I'll be using to check it. So I'll be using something like this to like insert on it. I'll put it in the center. So in the next 7 minutes I'll be doing that. By then I am sure that my cake has risen perfectly. So one of the ways you can encourage yourself to show up is by joining a community. Okay, I'm actually not in any community, but there are people that love to belong to a community where they are encouraged to show up, where they are encouraged to create, or where they are reminded to create content. I don't belong to any community. Thank you so much, ICS Comedy. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you joining, and I appreciate you viewing this live. Okay, there are actually people that love to join communities where they are encouraged. Okay, now one thing I am going to tell you for free. Okay, now this is something you don't want to do. This is a mistake you don't want to make. You don't want to join a community where you people get to do sub for sub, growth for growth, that kind of thing. No, it is going to destroy your channel faster than you think. You actually want to be or build a channel where people are real with you. People are real with you. You want to build an authentic platform where people get to communicate, bond with you. They get to relate to your content, follow you for who you are, for what you share, for the value that you share. When you join communities that promote sub for sub, you realize that your channel will not get the view that it deserves to get. Okay, the channel is not going to get that view. You end up suffering. So I just want to quickly insert this toothpick. So the cake is almost ready. So I'm going to insert it and show you. So I just inserted it and it's still kind of wet. So I'm going to give it a little more time to bake. So what I usually do at this point is turn off my oven or my pot and allow the cake to bake with the remaining heat. And if that is not enough, I turn it again, allow it to heat up, and then turn it off again. That way my cake does not burn. Okay, you want to try this out, but you should do that when you're sure that your cake has risen, your cake is almost fully baked. Because if you do it when your cake has not risen, your cake will sink. It's going to sink inside. So one of the ways I encourage myself, instead of joining communities that are not going to help promote my growth as a creator, is by being accountable. Okay, have someone around you that you can be accountable to, so that the moment you don't show up, this person is like your parent. Okay, this person is questioning you. Why are you not showing up? What is the problem? What is holding you back? Is there a problem? Is there any challenge that you're currently facing? Okay, now the thing is, a lot of people abuse these opportunities because they make it look like when you're asked, is there a challenge, is there a problem, you see they've carried all their financial burdens and they want to place it on their accountability partner. No, that is not the reason why the person is your accountability partner. The person is your accountability partner to encourage you when you don't show up, to keep you on check, on track, so that Even when you have this blank, you know, you're blank, you don't know what to create, this person can come through for you by sharing ideas with you, depending on your niche, depending on the kind of content that you create. I and my friend, we actually had to brainstorm on what I was going to create today, what I was going to teach life. We had to brainstorm, okay? It is not easy. It is not, there are days you would need somebody to, talk to, somebody to tell, okay, I feel so tired, I feel exhausted, I don't think I am going to show up. You need somebody to tell you, no, you have to show up. Yes, you need that one person that will tell you, no, you have to show up today. Okay, so try and have an accountability partner. Make friends with other creators. Even if not other creators, make friends with somebody who understands you, who understands the reason why you are creating content. Okay, who under if your main goal of creating content is to monetize in the next 2 days, I'm sorry, you may feel discouraged along the way, but create content because you love creating content, because you love showing up. Create content for that reason. Don't create content because everybody is cashing out. Yes, people are cashing out. Yes, it is possible for you to cash out. Yes, it is very possible for you to monetize, but create content because you love what you are doing, because you love to show up. Create content for that reason. So the next time you are worried, you're bothered about what to do, remember that there is somebody who is just like you but trying to show up, and that person is me. Okay, that person is me. I come back from work and I am trying to show up. I am here trying to create content, trying to, put up something every day. It is not funny. I had already wrapped myself in bed and I was about to, sleep because I have to go to work tomorrow. I was about to sleep. But then I said to myself, why am I sleeping? Why am I sleeping? Big creators are live right now. Big creators are shooting one content or the other. They are showing up. Why should I be sleeping? I had to pick up myself and I dusted up everything. I started arranging, started making preparations. And lucky enough for me, they just, brought the light. And this made this content so much possible and easier for me. Because imagine yourself creating and you just have to create with one light. It is so draining and so tiring. You feel so exhausted. You would not even want to show up. You will not want to show up. Okay, so my cake will be ready anytime soon. I am just waiting for it to finish baking. You guys, please be careful of your heat when you're baking. Be careful of your heat. Regulate your heat. Try your possible best to regulate your heat because it is going to, have a toll on your cake if your heat is so high. I am trying to adjust that. I started baking on a very high heat. I didn't realize that on time. This cake was supposed to bake for about 40 minutes, but this is 30 minutes and it seems like it is already done. But I tell you, the middle is not yet baked. Don't panic. When you're baking and the middle of your cake is not yet ready, what you want to do is to start regulating your heat. Now, what I did was to turn off my my gas. Okay, now my pot is still very hot and it is supplying heat to the cake. So the cake is still baking currently, but not with any fire. Now, oh my god, once this pot is no longer, once it's becoming warm, no longer hot, I'm going to turn on my heat, leave it for the next 2 minutes, turn it off again. I will keep doing this until I know that this cake have stayed for that amount of time it is supposed to stay in the oven or in the pot. Yes, I am that I am that figurative. I learned this one, nobody taught me, and I am sharing it with you because I also want you not to make the mistake that I have made right now. So you keep heating and turning off your gas or your oven, okay, so that your cake continues to bake, but it is not going to bake with any, with any fire. It's just going to bake with the warmth of the pot, with the hotness of the pot, okay, until it stays for that amount of time that it is supposed to stay. So creators, I am here to encourage you. I am here to support you. I am here to tell you that that idea, that vision, that idea that you have inside of you, the moment you think that you are the only one that have that idea, you're going to see someone else doing it. Yes, that is how, should I say, small this world is. The moment you know, oh, I just got this idea, nobody else has it, you're scrolling through social media and you will see someone else with the same exact, you have not shared this idea with anybody, but you will see someone else with the same idea, with the same plan. In short, this person is already carrying it out, okay, the person is already carrying out this idea. So whenever you have an idea, whenever you have an idea of something to do, don't waste any further time thinking. Don't waste time to think. Go right ahead, start it up. Resources and finance is one major issue startup face. But the moment you start with the little that you have, you begin to grow. You begin to, save up something you would use to do better, something you'd use to, progress, something you'd use to promote your brand, promote your content, promote whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, so do well to always start as you can. Always start as you can. Get encouragement from other creators, but don't be pressured. Okay, don't be pressured. Do you? Everybody's growth rate will not be the same. Everybody's growth rate will definitely not be the same. Okay, so just do you, show up as you can show up, and you're going to enjoy every step of it. So I'm trying to, this is just not showing the way I want it. Our red velvet cake is almost ready. And I'll be turning it out soon, you guys. You have been with me all through the way. Thank you so much. So I'm just waiting for the middle part of this cake to be ready. So if you're new to my channel, you're still watching, do well to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, tell me what you think about this recipe I have shared, tell me what you think about the ideas that I have shared with you today. Okay, so you also have to stay tuned for the final review of this red velvet cake that I'll be showing. So see you guys in my next recipe. I really appreciate your support whenever I come on live here. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.